Okay, so let's dive into this idea, this perspective, that failure isn't really the opposite of success.
Right.
It's more like tangled up in the journey itself.
Hmm.
I mean, think about some really huge names for a second. Michael Jordan
Yeah.
got cut from his high school basketball team. Or Oprah Winfrey, a massive media figure now, right?
It's huge.
Fired from her first news anchor job. And Steve Jobs actually kicked out of Apple, the company who
Right.
started.
So we're making that incredible comeback. Yeah.
Exactly. One of the biggest turnarounds ever.
And what's really interesting there is just how much we resist seeing setbacks as anything but, well, bad.
Totally.
We're kind of taught to aim for perfection, aren't we?
Yeah.
So falling short feels like the end.
Yeah, like a final judgment.
But when you actually look closely at people who've achieved, really remarkable things, there's this pattern. They don't avoid failure.
No.
They sort of navigate through it. They pull lessons out of it. And ultimately, they use it.
Right. So the question we're really digging into for you today is, how do we actually do that?
Yeah.
How do we take those bumps, those inevitable setbacks, and turn them into, like, springboards?
Mm-hmm.
We've looked at a lot of material on this psychology, real-world stories, trying to get a handle on how champions really master bouncing back.
And it seems to start with a pretty fundamental shift, really, in how you view the whole thing.
Okay.
Instead of seeing failure as, I don't know, a final verdict on you,
Yeah.
think of it more like feedback, just valuable data, really.
Like an experiment. If it didn't work, okay, that tells you something.
Precisely. It tells you something important about your approach, maybe your plan.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like failure puts a spotlight on those blind spots, right? The areas we weren't even looking at where we need to improve.
Yeah,
It forces that really honest look, which can be tough, definitely.
for sure.
But it's also incredibly insightful. And you know what else it seems to build? Resilience.
Ah, yes. Big one.
It's like this emotional muscle, you know?
Yeah.
The more you face setbacks and kind of push through,
Mm-hmm.
the better you get at handling whatever else life throws at you.
That's a great way to put it. And that really is what separates people who succeed long term
Yeah.
from those who get discouraged and stop.
Right.
Everyone faces failure. Everyone. The difference is the response. Champions see it as maybe a pause, a detour.
A chance to adjust course.
Yeah, exactly. A moment to adjust before they get going again, not a full stop.
We saw this interesting finding from a Harvard study.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
It found that people who actually faced failures earlier in their careers, they often ended up achieving more success in the long run.
Which seems counterintuitive at first, doesn't it?
It really does. Why would that be?
Well, it connects back, I think. Those early stumbles, maybe they force a steeper learning curve.
Hmm.
It's more intense, maybe, but you learn faster. You learn to adapt, to troubleshoot.
And you build that resilience muscle earlier on.
Exactly, which just serves you so well later when stakes might be even higher.
Okay, so we get the mindset shift. Failure is feedback, building resilience. Makes sense. But what about the how? Let's get into the practical steps.
Right.
We sort of distilled it down into what looks like a pretty solid 4-step formula for navigating failure and, well, engineering that comeback.
Yeah, and it's not about pretending failure doesn't sting or some kind of quick fix. It's a process.
Okay, step 1.
Step one is crucial, and maybe sounds obvious, but acknowledge and process the emotions. Don't suppress them.
Right, don't just stuff it down or pretend you're fine.
Exactly.
From what we saw, champions actually allow themselves to feel it. Maybe they journal, talk to a mentor, or maybe even just,
Vent a little.
yeah, a good vent session, sure. The key is processing it constructively so it doesn't fester.
Mm-hmm. So you can move past it,
Yeah.
which leads right into step two.
Okay.
Actively look for the learning opportunity within the failure.
This is that shift, right, from why me
Yeah, that victim mentality.
to, okay, what did this teach me? That growth mindset idea.
Exactly. What lesson is hidden in here?
Mm-hmm.
Because there usually is one.
It seems like every failure, no matter how much it hurts then, it holds some kind of valuable nugget if you're willing to actually look for it. Maybe it's a flaw in the plan, a skill gap.
Or even just, okay, that path definitely doesn't work, which is useful information too,
Absolutely. Which connects to step 3, I think.
which is consciously reframing the narrative,
Mm.
the story you tell yourself about it.
Ah, the language matters.
Hugely. The words you use shape how you perceive it, and crucially, how it affects your next move.
So instead of just, I failed, which feels so final,
Yeah, very definitive, very negative.
you shift to something more like, okay, I found one way that doesn't work.
Or, this attempt didn't succeed, now what? It's subtle, but it keeps the door open. It frames failure as information, not identity.
Not who you are. Okay, makes sense. And the last step, step 4.
Step 4 is all about action, taking action quickly.
Not just waiting.
Right. The instinct might be to retreat, lick your wounds, But that can lead to feeling stuck, losing momentum.
Right.
The antidote isn't just time, it's actually doing something, regaining that sense of control.
Even a small step, right?
Exactly. Just one small step forward can break that inertia, start building positive momentum again. It reminds you you're still in the driver's seat.
And we saw that interesting pro tip connected to this.
Oh, the failure resume. Yeah.
Anxious about that.
It's basically keeping a log, not just of your setbacks, but crucially, the lessons learned from each one.
Okay.
Over time, you build this document that isn't about shame. It's actually a record of your growth, your resilience in action.
Wow, that flips the script, doesn't it? Instead of hiding failures, you're documenting them as proof of learning.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's a really powerful way to look back and see how far you've actually come through challenges.
Fantastic. Okay, so we have the mindset, we have the 4 steps, but does this stuff actually work? Let's look at some real-world examples.
Absolutely, because the theory is one thing, seeing it play out is another.
Definitely.
And when you look at really successful, influential people, this pattern is just, it's everywhere. Take J.K. Rowling.
Harry Potter.
That first book manuscript, reportedly rejected by 12 publishers.
12! I always find that number staggering.
It is. Imagine getting that 12th rejection.
Yeah.
How tempting it must have been to just stop.
But she didn't. And now, well, global phenomenon doesn't even cover it.
Exactly. Or Elon Musk and SpaceX.
Oh, yeah, the rockets.
Their first few launch attempts were, well, they exploded pretty dramatically.
They're in a row, wasn't it?
I believe so, yes. 3 consecutive failures. For most people, that would be it. Game over.
Especially with that much money and pressure involved.
Right. But they kept going. They learned from each explosion, figured out what went wrong, iterated.
And now look at them, pushing boundaries in space travel, aiming for Mars. It's incredible.
It really is. And then there's Kobe Bryant.
Mamba mentality.
Exactly. He famously, in a crucial playoff game early in his career, airballed 4 potential game winners in a row.
Oof. I can only imagine the criticism, the pressure after that.
Immense. But what's telling is his response.
What happened next?
The very next game, similar high-pressure situation, final seconds. He didn't hesitate. He took the shot again.
Wow. That takes guts.
It shows that resilience, right? That refusal to let one bad moment, even a really public one, define him or make him shy away next time.
So the common thread here seems to be these people didn't let failure become their identity.
No.
They didn't let it stop them. They actively pushed back, learned, adapted.
They defied it in a way. They used it as fuel.
Yeah. Their stories are just such powerful proof that setbacks are often just temporary, just detours.
If you treat them that way.
Right, if you choose to see them that way. Okay, so for you listening right now, we want to make this super practical.
Let's bring it home.
We're issuing a little challenge. We're calling it the 24-hour reboot challenge.
Okay, I like it.
Here's the deal. Step 1. Think about a recent personal failure. Something that didn't go right, felt like a setback. Could be big, could be small.
Just identify one.
Step 2. Take a few minutes, really reflect, and write down at least one specific lesson you learned from that experience. What did it teach you?
Got it. Acknowledge, then learn.
Exactly. And step 3, this is key. Commit to taking one small action step today, within the next 24 hours.
Okay.
Something, anything, to start moving forward from that situation. Doesn't have to be huge. Just one step to regain momentum.
That action piece is so important for shifting out of that stuck feeling.
Totally. And hey, if you're up for it, jump into the comments and type back stronger.
Nice.
It's a little way to commit, hold yourself accountable, and maybe connect with others doing the same thing.
Love that. Creating a bit of community around it.
Yeah, because remember, the core message here is you are not defined by your failures. You're defined by how you rise after them.
Beautifully put. It's all about the comeback.
Absolutely. So if this deep dive hit home, if you're interested in exploring more ways to turn those setbacks into powerful comebacks, definitely hit like, subscribe, you know the drill.
Let's keep exploring this stuff together.
Let's keep learning and growing. Thanks for tuning in.